Hello. Are Hungarians hungry for turkey? Turkey. Hungarians. Are they hungry for turkey?
I'm good, but thank you.
They're hungry for nugs.
I don't want a nug. I understand that you brought me nugs, but there's no sauce, and I don't want a nug. I really don't. I will not eat them if you leave them here.
I will not eat them
Make Jay eat them.
here or there.
Some for you.
I didn't know you were doing that.
I'm trying to make a green eggs and ham joke out of this. I will not eat it here or there. I will not eat it anywhere. I will not eat your sauceless nugs.
Also, I did start recording, so here we are.
Sauceless nugs. I like my nugs like I like my women. Sweet and saucy.
That didn't go with
What? I don't know what you just did or what words you put together. Nobody enjoyed that. You know the meme? Nobody enjoyed that? Nobody enjoyed that.
Outstanding move.
But
I
no,
make
I'm good
myself
on that.
laugh. I make
love it.
myself laugh, and that's all that matters.
Welcome back.
To the Sidebar podcast.
I don't know. Welcome back to the Sidebar Podcast.
I just said that.
Yeah, I do the intros and outros here. You're fired.
Fuck you.
You're fired.
I'll leave.
No, don't. I need you for this. We're finally, yeah.
I'm your co-host, Will Mitchell, joined by your co-host, William Hand. Patrick, if you will. And so
Cocoa Puffs should have been higher on the list.
I didn't realize that last week we went straight fucking into the cereal, okay?
Yeah, we did.
And even then, I wouldn't have time to finish this story because it didn't actually get finished until the end of the weekend.
I think it was the first time we've actually gone after our first topic is, like, out of the gate.
And that was really the only real topic we had.
Well, yeah. Absolutely.
After that, we were just stuck. But yeah, so last weekend, I went to a Mount Joy and Rainbow Kitten Surprise concert, which we talked about the episode before the last episode that I was going to.
Yeah, we talked about that you were going.
Yeah, so it was fucking fantastic. Mount Joy, the band, even liked my Instagram post, which was fire. The keyboardist, I'm definitely going to marry one day. She is...
Sex, bro!
I'm going to marry her. She's amazing, and I love her. But other than that...
You can't see this, but I left him talking to himself.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Fucking sucks.
So on our way back, we're in Danielle's car, and she came to town for this concert. We went together, and on the way back, it's raining, it's dark, it's 11:30 at night, and all of a sudden it's just this boom, boom, like this thud, 20 minutes from my apartment. Okay, and so I'm like, hey, did you see that possum? And she said, what possum?
And this is where the problems begin.
And then I was like, is your car smoking? She was like, is my car smoking?
Sidebar, check out our Instagram page for a photo of my bruised ass. Anyway.
I didn't put it up there.
It's going to get up there. Anyway.
And so, thus ensued the chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long story short,
It was
it
about
took
midnight, wasn't it? Or
we
1
didn't get
a.m.?
home till 3 a.m.
Well, yeah.
We hit the possum around 11:30 midnight. Didn't get home till 3 a.m. Because pulled over the first time, I was like, I don't see anything wrong other than it busted up your front bumper. But, like, you hit a possum going 70 miles an hour, it's going to
Shit
break
happens.
some plastic, okay? It broke a lot more than plastic, spoiler alert. And so we get a little further down the road, and the car won't go above 2,000 RPMs and keeps sputtering and cutting down. I'm like, okay, your car put itself in lag mode. Pull over
In
again
lag
and let's see what happened. Yeah, lag mode's a serious thing to protect the engine from
All right.
damaging itself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
when something's wrong with the car, it knows with all the computer systems.
Wow.
And so it'll stick your car into lag mode
Wow.
to protect it from doing even more damage to itself. So if you need to get somewhere, you can get there going 15 miles an hour, but you can't do anything other than that.
And they say cars that aren't smart cars aren't smart.
No one says that. No one even likes smart cars.
I'm pretty sure.
No, stop. You're done.
If you fart in one, it turns into a Volkswagen Beetle.
What?
Think about the shape of a smart car, and imagine you just cut a giant fart in it, right? All the metal bends out, turns into a Volkswagen Beetle.
You need to see a doctor. for what's wrong with your head and what's wrong with your farts. Jesus, man. But yeah, so pull over the second time. I'm like, oh, this hose is disconnected. It's the main coolant hose. I'm like, that's what the smoke was. Your coolant was spraying onto your engine and fucking evaporating.
Yeah.
I was like, you got some pliers? Because it has one of those hose clamps on it, like one of the spring-loaded ones that you can't unscrew it. You have to pinch it and then slide it. She was like, no. I was like, okay. So we called Emily, and she came and picked us up, took us to Walmart, bought some pliers, went back to her car. I fixed it. She helped. It was a bad time for everybody. It was 2 a.m. at this point. And I'm like, okay, that's it. We're done. Ball game. Fixed it. Topped off the coolant. Let's get it.
This is also after she had a tire problem on the way up here, right?
Oh, yeah. She hit a curb, turning into a parking lot that I told her to meet me in. In her defense, the curb sticks out way farther than it should. It goes a good 10 feet.
And it was raining. And
it was raining dark. It goes about 10 feet where it's just curb. No sidewalk, no railings, nothing. Just curb. So stupid. So I had to fix her tire in the rain. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, it was there.
It was there.
And I'm on fire tonight!
He made a few really bad jokes earlier that I'm just not proud of. I don't really like being in his presence right now. But yeah, so I put this tube back on there. I'm like, okay, we're good to go. She's like, thank God. And we get going. And she's like, did you feel that? And I was like, what? She's like, felt like my car just kind of lagged down for a second, like it dropped RPMs. I was like, you sure you didn't just tap the brake? She's like, I might have just tapped the brake. You're right. And it happens again, and we look at each other. And then Emily said, I'll follow behind y'all in case you have any more problems. First of all, fuck you, Emily. You only stayed behind us for like half a mile, and then we're out of sight.
I have a story about that, but it's really it's mediocre.
Anyway, and so we have to pull off again. And this time I look under the car, and I'm like, oh, fuck, brother, we should not have been driving at all. Because it's a fucked up radiator, fucked up AC condenser, AC hose, coolant hose, all this shit just destroyed, right? $1,400 later,
Jesus Christ.
a possum going 65 is $1,400.
Still better than a cow going 5.
One of the officers I was riding with the other day said, yeah, you wouldn't imagine the amount of damage a raccoon going 70 will do to a Charger. And I was like, yeah, about $1,400. He was like, $2,000. Why? I said, oh, possums are 14.
That's how much it cost to get my my mom's car fixed after I hit that cow.
2,000?
1,500.
15. Well, it was a hood, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 This was like 4 parts and then like 10 hours of labor.
No, it was a quick fix. I think the charge was more for the part than anything, but
Yeah, probably.
You know.
And the paint.
Well, yeah.
Getting a paint matched hood. But yeah, this shop we took it to, great guys, gives a tow for free. Dealt with all the bullshit that ensued, but like also were so new that they didn't have a credit card system, so we had to pay them in cash. Kind of sketchy, kind of weird, but fuck.
Did you just drop your fucking mic?
No, the turtle humped my mic into oblivion. No, so
While we're on the topic.
no, so Will went to reach for his glass, and I tried to pull the turtle so it didn't make him drop his glass, and I dropped my microphone in my chest. So I apologize for your ears after that. Yeah, great guys. Just like had to pay in cash, and we did not have $1,400 cash.
Obviously not. Yeah.
So that was a good time to deal with and try to get the money from her dad, who probably hates me now, but that's all right.
Thought he didn't like you before.
Oh, he loved me. He's always loved me.
All right.
Since high school, he's loved me.
By the way, the whiskey is coming out.
The whiskey is coming out. We started off light with some Bud Lights.
Platinums, though.
Platinums, yeah, because we're classy bitches. We like the bitches that wash our paper plates type bitches.
Did you have a stroke before this?
No, it's fine.
Sidebar, last night I got kind of drunk, had a nightmare in my sleep, woke up, having a fucking panic attack. May or may not have swung at my girlfriend in my bed when she woke me up. Didn't hit her, thank God, because she'd have caught a fucking elbow.
You're a shit boyfriend, but you sure don't hit her.
I still don't, but I almost did. I was half asleep, the cogs upstairs weren't turning, and she was grabbing me, shaking me, trying to wake me up, and buddy, I'm telling you, 2 inches away, she almost caught an elbow to the temple.
Are the cogs up there ever working?
Well, no. That's why I lubricate them with liquor. That's how that works.
We're talking about your head, not your dick.
No. Look. The head is lubricated by liquor.
With your brain.
Yes.
Okay.
The brain
Right
is
head.
lubricated by liquor.
Right head.
The dick is over lubricated. Therefore, it still functions, but it's not as productive.
if you're picking up what he's putting down.
I turn into a marathon fucker when I'm drunk. I've never had whiskey dick, but my God, I can't come.
Sick flex, bro.
Oh, no, it's not. I end up sweaty and kind of miserable.
And sore and like
Well, yeah.
out of breath and
if
shit.
you're not doing that after, you know what? Everybody complains we always talk about genitals on the show, so we're not going to fucking keep talking about
if
genitals.
you're not high-fiving after sex, you're wrong. Now let's talk about some dead gophers.
You always got to say go team
You do.
and
You
high
do.
five, because you are a fucking unit.
It took you so long to come to that. You are a fucking team, a fucking group, fucking unit.
It could be a group. It could be a group.
If you're lucky.
That depends on the makeup of the group.
You're right.
If you're the only white guy,
What?
what?
Dead gophers. So, weekend was great and all. Pain in the ass with the broken down car. And I didn't have a car either because guess what? Mine was also in the shop. So that was just loads of fun.
I lost my whiskey glass.
That's okay.
It could have only been in a 6-inch area.
And so Will texted me the next day on Monday. I was like, hey, you want to go climbing tomorrow? Because I've recently gotten him back into the climbing gym. And
Yeah, absolutely.
he wanted to go to Yona. And he was like, so that's the local mountain here that you can climb at. He's like, you want to go to Yona on Tuesday? I'm like, dude, I work. Lucky for him, I slept in that day and didn't go to work.
Nice.
So I text him at like 10 in the morning. I'm like, yo, you still down for Yona? He said, and I quote, fuck yeah, daddy.
Yeah, I did. I had a midterm on Tuesday, so I was looking to kind of get some stress out after the midterm. So I really wanted to go and do Yona because I haven't done Yona in 4 years, and
Yeah.
when 5 now probably. And the last time that I did do Yona, really easy routes, was up there with some military guys back when I was in high school.
Not the route I stuck him on.
Yeah, no. I think I might have told that story on here about me going up there with the military guys when I was
I
in
don't
high
think
school.
so. Yeah, I don't think so.
I won't get into it. I really don't like talking about the military too much on here. But when I was in high school, I did some job shadowing with some military guys up there. And it was a really great time, and I really loved the view. I loved the climb. I loved the atmosphere. They pretty much drove us up there, so that was nice because we
Yeah.
used the service road. So Yona is a nice place to get started on and kind of come back into climbing, in my opinion.
Oh, I mean, you have anything from 5.2 to 5.13s there, so.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not
You've got a wide range of styles of climbing you can do, of difficulties, all that shit.
Yeah, and the top is a multi-pitch. For those of you
Yeah,
who
the
don't
main
climb,
face.
you basically have 2 sections that you climb. We were on the lowers, which is only 1 pitch, and it's only 200 feet maybe. The lowers.
No.
No?
60 feet tops.
I'd give it more than 60, but yeah, my estimation of 200 is probably over.
Pro-
I'd
ma-
say
60
once
to
you
100
top out
feet.
100 feet
Yeah, probably. Once
That's
you get to
probably-
the very, very top.
of
But-
the lowers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Once
yeah,
you
about
top out, I'd say 100
probably.
feet. So it's nothing super ridiculous. You're not ideally.
But it's taller than a gym wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're not, in most cases, mine to be excluded, you're not stuck on the wall for 15 minutes at a time trying to fucking climb. And, I thought it was a good way to get back into the sport
Yeah.
for, like, my first outdoor outing in a couple years. So
Right. Yeah, no, it was a great time. So, on our way up there, I'm going to let Will get back in this story because he's the one that saw it. I didn't. But we're driving up there. It's a beautiful drive there, going through the mountains.
Excellent,
and then
yeah.
you just come down this one hill and make this one turn. And then just the main face, like this big bald granite,
just fucking staring
is
at you.
just looming over you. And it's fucking awesome. And we pass these pastures, and Will is like, yo, you see those fucking gophers? I'm like, what? He's like, you see all those dead gophers? I'm like, okay, the dude up the hill, like, there's a house 100 feet away. The pasture is towards woodland. Like, okay, he's sitting on his back porch shooting gophers. What's the big deal?
Yeah, so this guy had some farmland, which I get. Gophers can tear up your farmland and everything. And I grew up in this area. Like, literally for the last 12 years, I grew up in this area. And I understand the people and how they are. Hold on. Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Ow, fuck. I'll
We'll
explain that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to why he was in pain there.
But we're driving by this pasture, and I look over, and I see like it looked like an animal. It was an animal skin on a barbed wire fence, and it was just kind of draped over it like you would drape a towel over the side of your shower
It
curtain.
was really weird.
Yeah, and
I saw it on the way down. Fucking weird.
Yeah, and so I saw it, and I was like, that's fucking weird. And about 2 or 3 fence posts go by, and there's another, but it's like much bigger, so it was still like really fresh, because these are like degrading.
Yeah, they're like
Rotting. Yeah,
on the-
rotting.
There's the
And
word.
so we drive by like, basically up this dude's pasture land, and up the pasture land about every 2 or 3 fence posts, there's a fucking dead animal hanging on this barbed wire fence. And I was like, this is not fucking normal. Like, look, if you want to get rid of an animal, you shoot it and you ditch it, like whatever. I get that if you're a farmer, because especially gophers will tear up your fucking land. But he's just hanging them out there like some fucking psychopath in a movie.
It's like Game of Thrones. They're sticking their heads on spikes.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, honestly, it
that's
was
what's
fucking
happening.
wild.
I
and-
said that he's either like warning the other gophers, 2, he's actually just a psychopath,
which is in that area,
very,
it's very possible.
or 3, has a very, very well trained dog who kills them and puts them up on the fence for later.
Yeah, not like that though. But yeah, that was really, really, really strange. And like I said, I grew up around these people, and I know that like
These
it's kind of like
people.
how in town here we have the Nuggets, and
Yeah.
they can be really strange. It's like that, but at some times I would argue that it can be worse because those towns are a lot more spread out,
Mhm.
and people do get kind of fucking insane. So
So we get past that. We start hiking. It's a good almost 2-mile hike. Very steep 2 miles though.
did not realize how out of shape I was until I fucking took 100 feet in. I was like, I was trying to control my breath because he seemed all right. So I'm like trying to breathe easy, and it's not working. And then he turns around and he goes, and I
Yeah,
was like, I'm
dude.
glad we're on the same page, man.
Honestly, as much as I run and hike, I still get out of breath hiking uphill.
well, we
it
were
just
carrying all the
happens.
gear too.
Bro, I get out of breath walking up more than 3 flights of stairs. And I run like marathons and shit. Like,
Sick flex.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
We were carrying a lot of gear too, though.
yeah.
But I
a
mean,
good
I should
30
be used
pounds
to that,
each.
but anyway,
Yeah, so we get up there. I put my harness on, put my shoes on, take my shirt off because, we're rock climbing. You have to be
you
shirtless.
gotta take your shirt off.
It's
Honestly,
only,
though,
it's
it's hot
only
as fuck.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
So-
We chose a 70-degree day, and I was wearing long pants. My shirt was drenched with sweat,
I was wearing shorts and a tank top because I planned ahead, but
and he was still sweaty.
very.
Yeah, we get up to the top, or to the lowers, and I'm starting to rack up. I'm like coiling up my rope.
Yeah,
making
we're getting
sure-
ready to rock.
Yeah, getting ready to rock and roll. And I'm like, okay, Will, so I'm gonna teach you how to belay. Because he knows how to belay in a gym, but not outside because it's the opposite.
Right, it's belaying for lead climbing, which is literally the exact opposite of how you would belay for somebody in a gym, which is called
roping.
top roping. Yeah,
Yeah, by the way, watch Free Solo, Oscar-winning documentary.
great. Yeah,
Awesome. And so I was teaching him how to do that on the fly, and I'm like, okay, so you kind of got the gist of it. He knows how to belay otherwise, and it's very similar. So I was like, okay, easy to learn. You got the gist of it. And I climbed this really easy route, like halfway up, and I'm looking down the whole time to like judge his technique. Get off of that and go to the actual one I was going to be doing. And so I'm climbing up, clip my first bolt about 10 feet off the ground, clip my second bolt about 25, 30 feet off the ground. And then he's like, I get through this part where he got stuck at, and the hardest part of the climb, the crux. I get through that, and he's like, hey, man, you might want to place some protection. You haven't clipped a bolt in a while.
yeah. So something I actually learned today, which if you're at all interested in climbing, I didn't exactly know this from a mathematics perspective. It's a really fun fact.
Fall factor?
Is that no, I maybe. So your most recent bolt that you clip into on the route, let's say that you're 10 feet above that bolt, you will fall twice as far as you are above that bolt. So you will fall the 10 feet of rope that you have, and then you'll fall the extra 10 feet before like it
That-
catches.
And then you also have to think of the slack that's in the system.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
much I pull you towards the rock when I fall, and then the stretch of the rope, because ropes are dynamic.
Right, and then me lifting off the
So-
ground.
If I'm 10 feet up, that's a solid 26-foot fall.
Yeah,
possibly
if you are
30.
10 feet up from your last bolt,
yeah.
it's around 25 feet. I learned that today from like a mathematics perspective.
Yeah.
Super interesting, like
So
kind of cool thing.
So I was 15 feet above my last piece of gear.
Yeah, and fucking the last like sharp ass piece of rock that he lifted off of was like 26 feet below him.
Yeah.
So like, I was sitting down there and I'm looking up at all the rope that's coming off of your last bolt, and you were on the crux. And there wasn't another bolt for you to clip into, but you were sitting on the crux, and I was trying to stand back in order to pull as much slack out of the line as I could.
Yeah.
But I was also on kind of a ledge, so I didn't have an option. And I'm looking at you, and I'm like, if he falls, no shit, 8 inches off the ground, he might stop. Like,
we'd probably hit each other. If I
like
had
considering
fallen
like
from there,
you like kind of jutting down and then coming back up a little bit, the apex of you falling down would maybe be a foot off the ground.
I would have
my
lifted
butthole was so. I was like, if he fucking falls, like he may actually like bite it.
No, I would have lifted you about 2-3 feet off the ground, and
which
I
would have given you more.
I would have hit you. We would have run into each other.
That's better, but that's another thing. I was thinking if he lifts me off the ground, that's me giving him more rope,
Yeah, it is
which is bad.
bad. So yeah, I did that.
So
and
I'm like sitting back in this thing trying to fucking like. I'm
Yeah.
doing everything I can like in case this motherfucker falls.
and I don't know if you said anything or I was like, maybe I should clip some gear. And
Oh
he's
no,
like,
I said something.
Yeah, and so I said, all right, whatever. And I'm holding on with my left hand, and I lean backwards and down with my right, clip it to a bolt that's not even on the route, just the closest bolt.
Yeah.
So I ended up kind of doing a zigzag in my rope, which bit me in the ass later because of rope drag. Clip my rope, and I'm like, I look down and thumbs up, and
Well-
then just keep climbing.
Because at that point, once you got over the crux and you,
I was like no hands resting, like I was good.
well, yeah, I know, but even for me from the bottom, once you got over the crux, I was looking up, and at that point, you were easy 15, 18 feet above your last gear placement. And I was like, if anything happens right now, he's banging his head on this fucking rock.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like,
And of
"Hey!"
course, I don't climb with helmets because.
I was like, fucking put some gear in.
And I whip out a cam, stick it in a crack, clip to that. So I'm not fully sport climbing because tried climber and whatnot. But get to the top, rappel down, set Will up for top rope. So he's not placing gear. He's just taking mine off the wall as he passes it.
Yeah.
And he's getting up. He's like, holy fuck, where did you... I'm like, just look for the chalk marks, man. I was chalked up good the whole
Yeah.
time. You can see where my hands were. Just look for those.
So there were. So he gets to rub back down. I lay him back down, whatever. Which I'm really glad that I was paying attention because I actually hooked in the rope backwards into the belay device, at first, and then I realized my mistake, which is a very good thing that I realized.
At that point, he was not in control of my life.
Yeah,
I had
no,
tied it
no.
up
This
top.
was way before
Yeah.
anything had started.
I was tethered to a cable up top.
Yeah, but I was
safe.
checking off my gear and I was like, something ain't right here. So really glad that nothing went wrong there. But so we get you back down. I get on, and for context, Will, man, I don't want to say this. Will is factually a better climber than I am. He's been doing it for way longer, and
All shucks.
yeah, I know. He's been doing it for way longer, and realistically, right now, you're more fit than I am in general. Ow.
Yeah.
God. Sorry. I scratched my back with my thumb. So he does this route, and he had a little bit of difficulty, but then once he got over what we're calling the crux in this case, which was this slab that kind of stuck off the rock, but it was wide enough that it was hard to get over.
Yeah, it's like you can't reach onto either edge of it and grab it. You have
Yeah.
to go under and out from the bottom.
And it's not short enough to reach over to the top.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing you have to get around, and
Yeah.
it's you either have to use like friction and like slab moves
Yeah.
or crack moves, and I don't think Will has ever done either.
I've
you
done
don't-
I know how,
Yeah, it's
but
not
it's
stuff
not
you do in a gym.
absolutely
That's the
not.
thing.
No. So I get up pretty much to the crux without any difficulty. I
You
hit the
blew up there.
Yeah, no, everything else was fine. I get to the crux, and I paused because essentially what happened was I was missing a foothold that you had had beforehand. So I was stretched out on the rock, whereas in that scenario, you were pushed up on your right foot.
Yeah. and I could reach.
And you were like, just look for the chalk marks, bro. And I'm like, dude, this doesn't feel right. I'm up here, and where you had put the top rope was in the middle of the lowers. I'm easily 50 feet to the left. So if I fall, I'm going to swing.
It was like 15 feet.
Fuck you. No, it wasn't.
It so was. It wasn't that far.
God, no.
But yeah, you would have swung, because I did that later, and I swung out
and I was
hard.
looking at the rock, and I'm like, if I swing out from right here, and I like somehow fuck up pushing myself off the rock and trying to make the most of it, and I fall, I'm going to hit my head on this fucking rock. So at this moment,
He's going to be really out of control of his body.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, I climbed when I was younger. I climbed when I was in high school a little bit. I started climbing when I got into college. But never in my life have I, like, just flipped the fuck out on a face.
I could hear him up there kind of talking to himself, trying to hype himself up
Oh, yeah.
to calm down.
Yo, I got into this nifty position where I basically had
You were kind of kneeling.
Yeah, I
in a
basically
way.
had a piece of that was after I got off the crux. So when I was on the crux, basically the rope was pulling me to the right. I needed to be more left, and I needed to be about 6 inches down from where I was. So I needed some space to work with.
Yeah.
But because of the situation that I was in, the rope was just pulling me really hard, and that was my security. So I'm sitting there trying to make the choice between me literally having like the best foothold that could have been there and me giving up the security of this rope, which was you giving me slack. So I did that. That happened to be the foothold that I was missing.
Yeah. He needed me to give him slack and to get his feet right.
Yeah, so that made the crux 1,000 times easier.
Yeah.
I get over the crux, I get up the wall, maybe 10, 12 feet more, and basically I found this slab, and I was sitting on it, kind of. And I was using my left foot underneath it to hold me in place, and I got stuck. Like, really fucking stuck. I didn't know where to go.
At this point, he's moved 5 feet in the last 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
So
and I'm tired.
I have sat down and belaying with one hand and drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Shouting encouragements from below.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sitting on this. I don't know where to go. He's like, look for the chalk marks, mahalo. Like,
Mucho aloha, brethren.
And from there, it looked even worse to fall. It looked so bad to fall. It literally, I've never been that person. Like, I'm not somebody who can look back at my life and say that I've really ever been afraid of anything. But for whatever reason, looking down in that moment and looking at, because I was still to the left, so I would have swung out to the right. I was looking at that.
Danger.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that, and I was like, there is no fucking way in hell I'm going out there. Like, and so I'm kind of sitting on this rock. I'm trying to figure out my feet. My foot keeps slipping, so I keep kind of slipping off the rock that I'm basically sitting on. And I spent 10 or 12 minutes just sitting there. And I'm literally, like, trying so hard to get myself hyped. Like, I'm like, Mom ain't raised no bitch. Let's fucking go. And then I'd put my hand somewhere else, and I'd be like, no, no, no. And I'd, like, come back to the hole that I was in. I was like, no. Like, just shaking. I'd be like, no, never mind. Mama did raise a bitch. Here I am. Like,
Oh, my God.
eventually, though, I worked past it. I think what it boils down to for me is more trusting my feet.
It's trusting yourself in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to get that. I just knew that if I yelled at you, yo, just trust yourself.
It wasn't going to do shit. For a brief moment, look, I'll be honest, for a brief moment, I was literally like, is there any way that he can come up here and get me?
There was.
Like, full disclosure, like, I've never been that scared of anything in my entire life, aside from when I was like 12 and saw my first scary movie. But, like,
Right.
as far as, and I mean, you know me, I've had several scenarios where I 100% should have died, or where I had been in severely compromising positions with falling off of waterfalls or like whatever, where like
We have great luck with cliffs, guys.
yeah, where if anything had changed, I would have died. I have never been that scared in my entire life, and the bad thing was I was hooked up to a harness and rope, and all those compromising situations I've been in have never had anything like that before.
Right.
They've always
And his
been
life was in
accidents.
my hands, the best hands they can be in. World's best belayer.
Oh, all right. Anyway.
So
So I get up there, finally, make it. felt amazing.
Oh yeah.
That was one of probably top 10 best, most satisfying moments in my life. And it wasn't even a huge wall. It was just that feeling of getting over the fact that I was like...
It was his first real outdoor climb because it was
second.
It was a moderate route. That's the thing.
Yeah, it was my first difficult climb where there was
Exactly.
actually some, I guess,
Some
supposed
thought that
danger
you had to
involved.
put into it, and some thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was incredibly satisfying. Probably top 10 most satisfying moments in my life.
Yeah. So.
Easily.
And I'm lowering him from the top because I was like, I mean, I can lower you. I was like, all right, so like when you're ready, I'll lower you down. Just back up like you're rappelling, and I'll rappel you from down here, basically, because we've been rappelling multiple times together.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know I should trust you because like I know you know exactly what you're doing, but in this moment, I don't trust anything.
And that was the weirdest thing that I've literally never experienced was because my harness and my shoes, I've used them for years, but I
Yeah.
haven't used them in such a way that they would be like degraded or anything. Like my gear is still really fresh and safe. And I knew the rope that we were using was good because I looked at it when I was whatever it's called, wrapping it over my head basically and getting it stretched out. I knew the rope was good, and I've been climbing and rappelling with you
Yeah.
so
On that
often.
rope, even.
Yeah, and on that rope. But even being on top of that rock, I was like, I don't want to do this. I have zero, like, I'm still hooked into the rope, and even just walking down the face, which the top of the face doesn't have an extreme angle,
Yeah, it's a very sloping.
I was flipping my shit in my head.
Oh yeah,
Because
and you're
I'm-
like, I have never not trusted my harness, and I know there's no reason I shouldn't trust
Yeah.
my harness. I just don't.
I have never in my life not trusted my gear within a reasonable extent. Like, obviously, if my gear is fucked up, I'm not going to trust it.
Yeah.
But and you take precautions for that. But in that moment, with my perfectly good gear and shoes and a perfectly good rope, I was like, I'm not coming down off here. Like, I just want to sit up here. And I've never had that before. It was a ridiculous experience and one that I want to chase again. But
Of course. And
well, yeah, I mean, conquer your fucking fears. Be a man.
Yeah.
I say that now after I was like literally almost crying on the side of a mountain. But
And so he's like, no, just give me a minute. I don't trust that. I'm like, well, I mean, you can set up a rappel by yourself up there.
nope.
He's like, no, lower me, lower
No.
me.
I'm at least a man that knows my limitations, and
He
in
would have
that
died had he
in
done
that headspace that I was in, setting up a rappel for myself was not the answer.
Yeah.
I think I might have the technical skills in a very calm scenario and where I'm only going like 5 feet,
Yeah.
but in that headspace that I was in, absolutely not.
Yeah, so I lower him down. He shakes it out, gets his fucking feet back under him. I asked him if he was going to kiss the ground. He said, fuck no, there's rocks in it. Takes a few swigs of Busch Light. Busch Light.
Dude, it was a great feeling though,
It was. Oh, no, I
was
totally understand.
fantastic.
I've been there before. It's awesome.
and hopefully I can like chase that feeling because
Hey, it's not raining Saturday.
let's fucking go, man.
And
No,
so
I mean,
we swap sharp
let's go.
ends, so I'm climbing up, he's belaying me,
yeah,
and I'm like, you know what? This looks fun. This isn't a route. It's not a numbered route because the routes there have numbers to them. I'm like, I'm just going to start climbing right here. And then I did, and I got to this part. He's like, yo, you got to go left because you can't use that crack on the right. And I was like, did you just say I can't?
which in all fairness,
I got farther than you thought I would.
you did, but you realistically couldn't use it.
In hindsight, now I know how I am going to go back and do that.
Okay.
But I'm going, and he says, you can't use that crack. And in my head, I'm like, can't, never could, bitch. And I'm halfway up this crack, and I'm trying to shift my body weight and get more squared off to the wall instead of leaning backwards.
Sidebar, this man is the worst person about just fucking pushing people to a stupid fucking level. We'll be at the climbing gym, and my arms are literally like shredded and in pain. And I'm used to doing like 5/8s, 5/9s at the gym, maybe. Like at most.
5/8s. You can get some 5/9s if I show you how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm used to doing that. He brings me over to a 5'10". I'm like, dude, I'm fucking destroyed. I can't do this. He's like, fucking bitch. Fucking do it. Like, you're the worst fucking person about that.
Hey,
I was looking at the route that you did. I was like, I don't know about that. You're like, don't be a pussy. From the
I
fucking...
looked at him and I was like, no, I just want to see. I want to see if I'm right with where you're gonna get stuck at, which he didn't make it that far.
Oh, you were talking about on the second route?
Yeah, the yellow
Okay.
one. And
Yeah,
so,
no, I definitely didn't make it.
so back to the real rock we was on, and I start swinging off. I don't tell him falling because we're top roping. He doesn't have much slack to catch.
Yeah, no.
And I start peeling off the wall, and I'm at that spot where he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna swing out 50 feet." I swung out, good 25 feet. And here's the scary part. I realized afterwards what happened is my rope from the top. So think about it like this: the rope on the right side of the mount that we're looped in through at the top comes down to him. I'm climbing the left side.
Yeah.
If I swing out to the right, my rope hits his.
Yeah.
So the friction that was keeping me from weighting you was the rope crossing over itself.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I end up in this really overhanging, really cool like cave type deal on the side of this
Yeah,
thing.
it was really neat, but the thing is as a belayer in that situation,
I'm hanging from the rope and he doesn't feel me hanging from the rope.
I hear him fall, and so I have my hands on the brake, or the bottom part of the rope for those of you who don't climb, which is essentially the brake in that scenario. I squat down really hard because I'm waiting on him to yank me up,
Yeah.
and I get in just this athletic position, and I've got my toes buried into the rock because I don't want to let you fall very far by any means.
Of course.
And he stops, like, I hear, and then, like, the gear and the rope and all that, and nothing changes on my end.
Oh yeah, because I have a harness full of rack. I have all
Yeah,
my
so
metal
I
still on
hear
me, so
I
he
hear
hears the
all of his
yeah.
metal clanking against each other, and nothing changes on my end. There's no tension, there's no pulling, and I'm like, oh, well, he's going to die. That was my first thought. I was like, he fell, and nothing changed on my end. This means he dies, right? Like, so I flipped the fuck out, but...
And so I'm in this overhang underneath of it, and I pulled these sick fucking moves, which even Will said, like, yo, that looked badass. I wish he had got
really
some pictures.
good.
There's some
It looked really
sick
good.
moves.
I have to say sick flex, bro, but it did look
They
really
were
good.
some sick moves. And I got to the top, whatever, rappelled back down, and we're taking a little breaky poo.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, yo, there's this really nice finger crack over here.
Are you going to drink another?
No, you got it. I'll just make Emily bring me a beer.
Facts.
There's this really nice finger crack, which is a crack where you can just fit your fingers in, not your hands. And I was like, I'm going to practice placing some of my smaller gear. So when you place your own gear into the rocks.
He's now back on the bottom at this.
We're on the ground. We're both on the ground taking a break.
He finished the route that we were talking about.
Yeah, I said that. You just weren't paying attention.
I was dealing with whiskey.
Cunt.
Sorry. But yeah, no, he's back on the ground, and, we're just
Yeah.
on those slabs and whatever.
So I'm playing with my gear. I get a few nuts in there, which are just little curved pieces of metal that you slide into the rock, and they stop themselves from pulling out when you whip on them.
If you don't
Put weight on
climb,
'em.
think of it as one of those paper clips that's kind of, not paper clips, but the, you know what I'm talking about?
Is that not called a paper clip? A paper clamp.
Think of
The
it as a
black
paper
thing with
clamp,
the
the
silver
black paper clamp. Think of it as having the shape of that, but you don't fold it over. You just put it in the rock, and then that way when you pull on it, the fat part of it sticks into the rock.
Yeah.
Think of it like that.
Yeah.
That's essentially
And
what
so
it
I
is.
put my two smallest ones of those to get better at placing them into the rock, and then one small cam which expands itself and is like, you can hang a car from one of those if it's placed mediocrely correct. Stop looking at me like you're scared. You can't. You actually could hang a car from it. A solid cam can hold a lot of weight. But I'm like, okay, so Will, I'm gonna make sure I put this in here right. Can you spot me? So what I did is I clipped in a sling. I just pretty much put something around my harness loop and then clipped it into the carabiner I had on the nut.
He roped himself to it.
Yeah, I
That's
just
essentially
I
what it is.
attached myself straight to the nut.
Yeah.
And I climbed up just like a little bit, so there was like
About a foot.
about a foot of slack in my sling.
For description, we're standing on like a little ledge, and it has a crevice underneath it that leads to like. When I say crevice,
It's hard to explain, but we're on a ledge and there's a slope below it with some rocks around.
yeah.
And I'm like, hey, can you spot me real quick in case this doesn't hold? And I was pretty confident at the time that it would, even though I've never actually placed that piece of gear before. And he's like, yeah, I got you. So he says, yeah, I got you. And 5 seconds later, I quote unquote fall. I pretty much just let go of the rock and fall back.
So
I hit Will.
from my perspective, he's like, "Hey, can you spot me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I got you." I move behind him, and we're like the slab that we're on has like different levels, and there's like kind of sharp edges. It's a weird looking area, and so I'm trying to like place my feet, but I already have my hands out just in case of anything, and I just hear falling, and then this dude lets go of the fucking rock without me being even nearly prepared for any of that.
So here's my point of view. Yeah, I got you. Okay, cool.
Falling. Yeah. And
I gave him a warning.
it's not you're like falling like so as soon as he says falling, he drops off. The nut comes
It pops out,
flinging out of the fucking wall,
whips me in the titty.
which now I'm never trusting your fucking gear. But
Fuck you.
So
You saw my other gear.
yeah,
I
I
was
know.
hanging off
it,
that
it
like
was
nothing.
good. It was good.
That was the one
But-
piece of gear that's ever failed on me.
So he falls from 3-4 feet from the ground, maybe.
But it was just enough to
But
hit him.
he shifted off to the
man.
left. I have my hands under him. He fell in a certain way that I successfully broke his fall. I did my fucking job. He was fine. He rolled off the rock and fell quite literally onto your feet from what I briefly saw.
I don't know how I landed. All I saw was you tumbling down behind me.
Okay, so from what I briefly saw as I was fucking tumbling, you rolled off the rock and kind of came to your feet and were relatively okay. I rolled into a crevice about 4 feet off.
And then it took a 2-foot straight drop.
3-4 feet, in my opinion,
Yeah.
onto rocks that were in this crevice that were kind of loose but sticking out of the ground. So the best way that I can put it together is that once he fell, I fell on my own thumb, completely smashed it, and with all reasonability should have broken it.
Oh, easily should have
Because if
broken
you had
it.
seen my thumb 2 days ago, I'll post a photo of it on the Sidebar Pod Instagram later. If you'd seen it 2 days ago, from the tip of my thumb all the way to the base of my thumb was straight black. I thought it was necrotic, and I thought I needed to go to a hospital.
It was fucked.
I legitimately yesterday debated if I needed to go to a hospital.
And right after this happened, we looked at his thumb, and it was swelling above the last knuckle, so like behind his thumbnail.
Oh, it was getting wild. My
It was
my
swelling, and
thumbnail
I'm like,
actually,
dude.
my thumbnail actually right now is the most painful part.
I believe it. I'm like, dude, how is it swelling
might lose
just in the meat there?
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck is
it's
going
kind of
on?
wild. So I fell off of that slab. Whatever happened to my thumb is kind of whatever, and I kind of fell onto my butt,
He's
which
got
was
some bruises
great.
on his butt too.
which was great that I fell onto my butt, because as soon as I started taking that tumble, I was like, I knew the rocks that were in that sort of slanted crevice.
Yeah, because that's where you were belaying from earlier.
Yeah, and my first thought was, if I hit my back on one of those, I'm fucked. Like,
If
even
you hit your head on any of those rocks, this is all granite, by the way.
yeah,
Semi-sharp
it's,
granite.
It's pretty bad, and I was like, if I hit my back on one of those, I'm fucked. That was my first thought. So I basically sat up and just kind of like tumble rolled off of it and just tried to make sure that my head was above the rest of my
Yeah.
body and that my back was kind of straight, which luckily I landed on my ass.
Yeah.
Super bruised. And then my calf muscle on my right side landed on another rock. The bruise is just now coming up, but I'm pretty sure I ripped my calf muscle because it's fucking terrible. And then I think I tumbled at least twice because I'm scuffed up on random parts of my body.
Yeah, you've got a scratch on the
I have a
back of
scratch
your
on my
knee.
right. I have like a 6-inch abrasion on my right elbow, but my left thumb is fucked up. So
Yeah, and one of
Something
the
happened.
backs of your knees is scraped up, and then
Yeah.
the other calf is fucked up. So,
yeah,
like,
so I don't know, but we
Wild,
tumbled off
man.
that shit pretty bad. After that, I was done.
he was like,
because-
"I'm sorry, dude, but I'm done for the day."
well, that
I'm
was
like,
because
"Dude,
my thumb
good."
looks like a hot dog,
yeah,
and my hand was fucked up. Like, not just my thumb, but like the palm of my hand got fucked up, so I couldn't
some
climb
cuts.
anymore.
Yeah, some cuts.
Yeah, so I couldn't climb anymore by any means, especially with my thumb being the way that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And my elbow was fucked up, and with the way that my calf and my ass felt. Once I hit the rock, my first thought was, did I hurt my back?
I saw you come to like, you were just kind of limp when you came to the edge. I'm like, oh, he fucking knocked himself out. He fucked his head up. Shit.
The first thing this guy says is, "Oh, fuck, brother," and then just stares at me like I'm supposed to move or something. And I was like,
I debated like tapping you with my foot.
That would have pissed me off so bad. You have no fucking clue how
If
mad
I
that
just
would
kind
have
of
made me.
nudged your rib cage with my toe, just be like, "Hey, buddy, what you doing?"
So basically, after that, I was like, I'm done. Like, My left hand is fucked up, and my back did hurt pretty bad afterwards.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was just sore, and I was like, my right leg is fucked up. I can like, it's not that I can barely walk on it, but like it hurts like a bitch to walk on it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was like, I'm done for the day. So
We get all our shit together.
we get all our shit together. We sat around the campfire, killed another bush light, kind of looked at the sunset a little bit, and then we hiked down. And
This is when it gets
oddly
fun.
enough, out of me falling off of Yona Mountain, this is where things get interesting.
So we're walking down. He just said that we were watching the sunset. That means obviously the sun is going down.
Yeah,
And it's
we
a-
didn't see. It wasn't like a sun peeking over the mountain sunset, but you know, it was getting there.
It was getting there, and it's a solid 4-mile hike to the very top. Okay,
Yeah.
and so
It's about 2 down, maybe 3.
we went 2 down,
Yeah.
and we were halfway to the top, pretty much. And so we're walking down. We're listening to some music. Will's groaning in pain at some parts where he has to like put a lot of strain on his calf muscles, going like down hills or
Shit still
climbing
hurts,
over
man.
boulders and
I
shit.
skipped class today because of that shit.
Oh fuck!
Not that I
It
needed,
doesn't-
not that I needed to, but I wanted to skip class. So I walked into class at the beginning. I showed my professor my thumb because it looked super fucked up today, and I was like, I need to go to the doctor, and he was like, oh,
It doesn't take much for Will to skip class.
no, I could have sex in the same day and skip class because I had sex. I don't give a shit. No,
Okay, well, we're walking down.
I have hit the apex of non-sobriety.
We are 3/4 of a mile from the bottom, and the sun is on its very much on its way to being set.
Yeah,
And this woman is walking up in front of us, and I have music playing. Like, oh, I'm gonna turn my music off because I don't personally, unless we're the only ones out there, I don't play music when we're out camping or when we're out in the woods.
Isn't
unless
that a
it's
weird-
Only us.
isn't that a weird dynamic?
it's
like
like
it-
an unspoken rule?
Like
on
if you're
this.
hiking and you see somebody, you turn your music down.
or off completely, yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
unspoken rule. Like it's a courtesy thing.
It's
Like
kinda
you're
weird.
out here to enjoy
It's
nature.
kind of weird. Yeah, no, I get it.
We're out here to enjoy nature, but we've enjoyed it enough. We're listening to music while we enjoy it and while
Yeah.
we enjoy each other's company.
That
But
makes
we're not
sense.
going to disturb that for you. And so, turn my music off, and she comes up. I don't know how this conversation even started. I just said, hey, hello, or howdy, or whatever. She says, oh, how are y'all? I'm like, oh, we're good. Oh, we just got done climbing, fucked his thumb up over here. And she looks at it. She's like, oh, wow, and like grabs his hand like gently. And we both thought at this point, like, oh, she's a nurse. She's looking at his thumb. And
She intently grabbed my hand.
But it was like a gentle, like, not like grab, but she like just placed it in
Yeah.
her hand and gently lofted it.
So my palm was up, and so was hers, and she was looking at it super intently. And
we're like,
the way
okay,
that she
she's
did
a
it,
nurse.
yeah, I
sure.
was like, she's, you know, like some kind of medical professional or something up here to just hike.
And then she takes his thumb, takes her thumb and forefinger, places her forefinger on the meat of his thumb,
Very gently.
does not apply any pressure, just barely touching her thumb to his thumbnail and her forefinger to his thumb, barely touching.
So she walks up, and he's like, not to reiterate your
Oh,
story.
I think we skipped a part.
But
actually.
just from
We did.
my perspective, she walks up, and you're like, hey, look at his thumb. And I was like, ah, fuck, whatever. So she puts her hand under mine, and I'm like, oh, like maybe she's like a nurse, whatever. I knew my thumb wasn't broken because I'd still have mobility, but I was
Yeah.
like, she can, you know, kind of give me some insight as to what's going on. And she looks at it, and she goes, oh, my God, you're in luck. And I was like,
And he pulls his hand away at this point.
yeah, I was like, why? And she goes, well, no, I didn't pull my hand away. It was still in her hand. Her hand was on mine
At
for
one
most
point,
of the
you
entire.
dropped your hand, and she was like, no, it's okay, and
Oh,
took it
yeah,
back.
that's true.
Yeah,
So she's like, I'm a healer. That's when I dropped my hand. And I was like, oh, cool. And like kind of put it down by my side. And she grabbed, not aggressively, but she kind of lifted my hand back up. She was like, no, it's okay. And I was like,
I can help you.
yeah. Like some culty ass
She's
shit.
like, no, it's okay, I can help you.
And I'm like, oh, cool. Because for me, like I said, I do everything for the story. So it's not that I wanted to learn, but I wanted to know her motivations.
I want to know where she came from.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and I wanted to
here's
know.
the creepiest thing: biggest smile, softest voice. She's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
no, it's okay, I'm a healer.
Yo, it was
I-
literally like The Invitation,
It's
the
like-
movie that we watched.
I can heal you. I can help you. You're in luck.
Yeah,
So
and
fucking weird.
again, I'm the guy for the story, so I was like, oh, cool. What kind of healer are you? Because I don't know how to breach look,
It's like, okay, you're a healer. You're into something that's not modern medicine. Are you a spiritual healer? Are you a holistic healer?
Yeah, exactly. And
Do you have a backpack full of herbs?
Yeah, exactly. And I've met not tons. I've worked with through being a waiter, which was kind of weird, but I've met a lot of people who are really into that stuff, and I know people who are Wiccan and people who are, oddly enough, I know one girl who's satanic. Like, I know people who are really into that spiritual realm kind of stuff, and I just wanted to know what category she fits in. So I was like, oh, cool, what kind of healer are you? And
just a healer.
Yeah, she goes, just a healer, and I was like, oh, this just got way worse. I'd much rather her be like a Satanist. I would rather her do that than be like, just a healer. Like, it was fucking, we're only halfway through our trail. We're the only ones there. It was fucking weird as hell.
We haven't seen anyone other than her in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah,
because the sun is going down.
Yeah, no one's up there. So she grabs my thumb with her index finger and her thumb, and she's no shit 6 inches away from my face.
She looks over at me and is like, you see, me and your friend here.
Me and your healthy friend here.
Yeah, me and your healthy friend here don't have any injuries. We're not in any physical pain right now.
And
so
we're going to take all of your pain away.
We're going to take your pain away for you.
And then she reiterated, she was like, we have the intention of taking your pain away and sharing your pain. Now, when she said this, look.
Two things went through our heads.
Two things went through my head. Let's get this off the table right now.
We had the same thoughts.
I think we need to talk about our thoughts before I say it, because I don't want to incriminate you.
We're about to have a threesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So
she's about to fuck both
of
us on the side of this trail.
Yeah, she's like, me and your friend are going to take your pain away. As soon as she said that, I was like, am I getting fucked? Like, not us fucking her, but her definitely fucking me in some capacity. Yo.
At that point, I'm not just going to sit there and honestly, I'd hop in. I'd help you out.
This was the
for
weirdest.
You, it'd be for you.
Of everything I've done, this was one of the weirdest experiences of my entire life. She's like, me and your friend are going to take your pain away. I was like, I think I'm supposed to fuck this lady. Like, by God. Or something. Or at least she's supposed to blow me or something. Like,
this is a porno. This is what this is.
Absolutely. That was my first thought. And so she's staring into my fucking soul with her. I was gonna say with her eyes, but what else would it be? But
yeah,
she's staring into my fucking soul, holding onto my thumb, and literally 6 inches away from my face, just staring into my eyes.
And
now
she says this. She's like, me and your friend have every intention of. I'm the friend here.
She said it was all about
pain away, and she was like, in this world, if you intend anything to happen, it's gonna happen.
Which is kind of a good.
It's a good outlook on life.
I respect that. That's awesome.
And then here's the thing. She said, isn't that weird? And I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
she's
it fucking is.
She's like, that's okay. And I was like, hold up. You just said, isn't that weird? And when I agreed with you, you took it offensively.
Oh my God.
Like, I didn't mean that as like, it's weird that you think this, but like, it's weird how that happens. But she fucked with my head.
She fucked with both of our heads. All right, we'll get there. So, she finishes fucking staring at me. At which point, I'm in, like, the Twilight Zone, trying to figure out what the fuck just happened to me. Because this lady was holding my hand.
I'm bouncing between her eyes and his thumb, which happens to be at her tit level. So I'm like, oh God, I hope she doesn't think I'm bouncing between her eyes and her
tits. I was bouncing between my thumb, her tits, and her eyes. No, I mean, like, whatever. I was just kind of like... Because legitimately, I was like, is she trying to fuck me? Like, that was a prominent thought in my mind. Obviously not that I would do that, but I was very concerned.
Yeah.
And so she finishes staring into my fucking soul. She lets go of my hand. At which point, I have so many questions. And I'm slurring right now, but it's fine.
A lot of questions. I wish I had answers.
I had so many questions, and it's not that I like want to follow that or learn that, but I wanted to see what her motivations were and like where she came from. Like I wanted to basically interview this woman.
I like being a cultured person. I like knowing things like this.
Well, Yeah.
Like if I meet someone in the future who's like, oh yeah, I'm a healer. I'm like, oh, I met this kind of healer on this mountain this one time.
And I wanted to be like,
and she helped my friend out.
what kind of healer are you? What are
Yeah.
your motivations? What's your kind of like discipline? Like, are you holistic? Are you
Yeah.
about auras?
Is
like,
it a faithful thing or is it like an earth thing?
Yeah.
Like what do you do?
which isn't in my belief system, but I
Is
really
it
wanted
like,
to
is
know.
it Chinese medicine or is it like that type of very earthy, herbal,
Yeah,
like
they do a
natural,
lot of that.
organic type thing?
Japan is actually really into that now.
Oh yeah. Or is it like spiritual aura shit? You know?
right. And that was what I was
still want
curious
to know.
about.
I still want to know.
I do too. So she put my hand down, and I was like, I didn't know how to react. So I was like, "Thank you so much." Like that. That was pretty much my. I tried to ask her questions while it was happening, and she kind of pushed them off.
Yeah, just didn't answer.
Yeah. So I assumed I'm not gonna get Q&A out of this lady.
Don't be pushy with it.
Yeah, no. Look, realistically, she was trying, even if it's outside of my realm of spirituality, whatever that may be, she was trying to do a nice thing. And so I have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we go to leave, and I don't know how we really said our goodbyes. I don't know what was like the cue, like, okay, this is when we start walking away from each other.
We were both tipsy, so
but
I
I
don't
just
really
I
remember.
just waved at her and said, "Happy trails."
Yeah. But she was up there by herself, and so we're walking down the trail.
And we just kind of look at each other. I'm literally biting down on my fingers, like trying not, like on my knuckles, trying not to burst out into laughter, just because I'm so fucking confused.
Yeah, I was dying laughing, but it's not at her. Like, she's trying to do a nice
It's
thing.
at the situation.
Yeah, absolutely, which is the most ridiculous
It's
thing.
like we don't know what the fuck just happened, but something just fucking happened to us.
So we get like 300 feet down the trail.
And all we hear is a lone gunshot. And I look at him, I'm like, me and your friend are gonna share your pain.
Did she just fucking kill herself? No, it was like a ghost experience, dude, because
I didn't know if she was real.
we actually questioned it. We might be dumb as fuck, but we actually questioned it. Because we get about 100, 200 feet down the trail. I'm looking at my thumb because that, at the time, is what hurts the most. And
He's like, all of a
Mitchell-
sudden, it doesn't actually hurt that bad.
well, no, you were like, does it still hurt? And I was like, not as bad. Like, I was so concerned because I thought this woman gave me the fucking devil.
It was like, I just gave you the demons that haunt me.
Yeah, exactly. So we get down the trail, we hear the gunshot. We're like, did she just fucking kill herself? Which she didn't.
Because there's a second gunshot later, and we realized it came
And a
from
third.
and
Yeah.
it came from the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, it's just hunters, but yo, we're driving out of Yona. We had so many interesting conversations down the mountain about what the fuck just happened to us. It was the most that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever experienced.
That's one of those things that like you won't forget just because you don't
Ever.
actually know what happened. We will never unless
we
I
debated
randomly,
if she was an angel.
We did. No, and now that we
We
bring
really
that up,
did.
have you ever heard of the Nunyahi Cherokee people?
What?
So Yona,
Oh shit, we're about to get an
Saudi
educational
Nakuchi-
lesson. Let's
dude.
go.
So Saudi Nakuchi, Yona, that whole area.
Saudi Nakuchi is where my parents' house is.
I know, but that whole area between Yona and Saudi Nakuchi, like that general area and all of North Georgia was heavy Cherokee and Creek land.
Sidebar, do you want to see the museum that's by my parents' house for the Indians that were in that area?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, we'll go.
So there's the Battle of Blood Mountain and Slaughter Gap, where it was said that the rivers flowed red with blood and shit like that between the Cherokee and the Creek.
yeah.
Well, the Nunyahi are this like very spiritual. They're like the shamans pretty much of the Cherokee people,
Okay.
and they're said to like still hang around and like help out their people. Like if you're in that area, if you're like around where all these bad things happened and you need help, like the Nunyahi spirits will come
Yeah.
help you. Dude, was that a fucking Nunyahi spirit?
Yo, it was super wild, and we get back to the cars. We're still in awe, like of everything that had happened that day between midterms and going climbing and the experiences that we had climbing, and then this random lady showing up and hypothetically healing my thumb, which she fucking didn't because it turned black the next day. I'm pretty sure that's the fucking demon ejecting itself from my thumb. And we're driving back out, and we see all the gophers on the barbed wire fence, and we're like,
I finally see them. Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's fucking weird.
yeah, and we're like, what the fuck just happened? That was the most ridiculous. That was top 10 most ridiculous experiences I've ever had in my life.
Easily.
Yeah, and I specifically remember in the car. We drove past a I don't want to say a lake, but a large pond with a bunch of docks on it. You were like, what if she was sitting on that dock? And I was like, we are stopping. We're getting out, and I'm learning the meaning of life.
No,
Let's
he was
fucking
like,
go.
if she's sitting there meditating, I'm gonna sit down next to her, cross my legs, do like the circle finger shit, and sit down and look at her and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it.
But I'm doing it right. That was absurd.
And then he said, and what would happen if you did that and teleported? He was like, what would you do if you could teleport? I'd go to New Zealand.
Well, and
Will
then,
said I'd go straight to New Zealand.
that's my first pick. Absolutely. That is my dream is to go and backpack through New Zealand. Like whatever job I have in the future, take a month off if I can. I understand the like jobs and like whatever
Careers,
Yeah, but take a month off. Maybe just me or maybe one other compadre. Wow, that was.
No.
I'm not proud of that one. But take a month off, fly to New Zealand, land in Auckland, take the nearest like bus or shuttle or taxi to like either the south or north point of the island.
Yeah.
And literally as soon as I get out of that taxi, just backpack for a month.
That'd be awesome.
Like fuck bathing, whatever. Not to be like a military guy, I've gone plenty of time without bathing. It doesn't fucking matter. But just have my pack, stock up at, the local, like, store or whatever.
Whatever you need to do.
Yeah, get any canned goods that I can to, like, sustain and to literally just backpack around the island.
And it's not like you're doing a through hike, so it's not like you're having to put in, like, 20-mile days.
Yeah, no.
You can go 8
not.
miles, end up in a beautiful spot,
Absolutely.
make camp, and hang out for the rest of the day.
That is my absolute dream.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
No, the number one thing on my bucket list is to just backpack New Zealand. And there's the North Island and there's the South Island. Yeah. And I want to experience both, so maybe later take a couple weeks because the North Island is smaller.
I want to do that, but with Ireland. I want to backpack across Ireland.
I'm big about Ireland and Scotland. It actually runs back to my...
Heritage?
Wow, I really don't have an explanation for this. No. Oh, fuck, she's down there. She's going to hear this. Anyway... I'm like wickedly attracted to Irish and Scottish culture.
Okay.
Like regardless, like look.
I too enjoy warm beer.
No, but like I feel like America is the greatest place that has ever been. I legitimately do.
Of course.
Aside from our current political climate and like whatever.
Fuck politics. Just
no. Aside
care
from
about
politics,
and you're good.
We have the most freedom out of any country. Like whatever, but. I knew Scottish and Irish people when I was in high school, and I got to see photos on their Instagram of places they've been and like the history of Western Europe.
Oh, that's some good history.
Yeah, and that is one of the places I will definitely visit before I die. And I'll spend 1 or 2 months there just backpacking and just... I think backpacking is the most natural way to experience a place.
It is, yeah. That's why a lot of fucking American college kids backpack through Europe.
I'm really drunk, and we're getting off topic, so I need you to reel me in.
We didn't have a topic anymore.
All right, cool. So backpacking in fucking Europe. Apparently, actually, sidebar. Apparently, the Philippines is the best place to backpack for the bang for your buck.
Really?
Yeah, because
why the Philippines?
You can pay 50 cents for a hostel. And $2
nice.
For a ride.
Yeah,
anywhere.
That's nice. So backpacking through cities isn't what you think about like backpacking through the woods.
Yeah, no.
You just walk around with a backpack on, and then you hole up in a motel or a hostel, preferably, which aren't really a thing in America, but they're all over the place in Europe.
We have some, but Europe is big. My
and
brother vacationed there.
You'll probably get bed bugs, but
I don't
It's
look.
cheap.
It's not for me. If I were to stay in a hostel, it's not about the bed. It's about the cover.
yeah.
So even if I rent a bed, I'm probably gonna sleep on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
But my thing with backpacking is I've been doing it a lot more lately and getting a lot more weight conscious.
Yeah.
Because I'm planning on, after I graduate, numero uno, my graduation trip. Yes, I just made Emily bring me beers.
I love you.
I love you. Thanks, babe.
You're not fucking allowed to.
Hi.
So anyway, she brought me 5 beers and asked for one. Not her. After I graduate, I want my graduation trip to be going to Ireland with however many people my mom lets me bring with me.
I better be on that list.
You're number 2 on the list.
What? What? Oh wait, is it who I think it is that's number 1?
Yes.
I will.
I'm kidding. Oh, Will just almost killed my ass. But yeah, going to Ireland.
If we're gonna, you're not kidding. If we're gonna backpack,
It's not backpacking. That wouldn't be backpacking.
whatever. It better. Yo, I don't give a shit about whatever, and you know what I'm talking about. It better be me.
We'll talk.
All right.
We'll talk.
All right.
All right. Well, anyway, 1, I'm gonna through hike the AT the summer after I graduate, and 2, my graduation trip.
Wait, you're gonna through hike the whole AT?
Yeah.
So from here to Maine?
Kind of. So
Because that's 4 months.
I'll probably do the graduation trip for spring break just so that I can do this through hike. So preferably you start a through hike. I've got a good buddy of mine who's starting his March 19th or 16th. I don't know.
Number 3 of whiskey.
But he's going from here up to Maine.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do, because I'm starting in May, so if I started, because I have to graduate.
If you start in May, you'd hit Maine by winter, which is miserable.
But the thing is, the park for Mount Katahdin, like the end of the trail, you have to go through a state park that closes after a certain time of year. So if you go too slow, you won't be able to make it.
The thing I'm really upset about is that you won't come to Montana with me on spring break.
Dude, I can't fucking pull that off with my internship. You know this.
I know. We're never going to make it happen.
It'll happen this summer. I'm going out west
I mean,
anyway.
maybe it depends
No,
on when
I'm
Bullet-
literally already going out west for my papa's birthday. We're going out there for 2 or 3 weeks.
That's great, but I've got an internship. We'll see. If I intern with my
Okay.
dad, it's only 3 weeks, in which case we can
Oh,
definitely
wow,
make
fuck.
Montana happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah, so what I'll be doing, because if you start in May, you have to do 20-plus mile days and not take any 0 days.
It's tomorrow Friday?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And so if you take any 0 days where you don't hike at all, or you, like, slack on mileage for a few days, you're not going to make it to Maine in time for the winter.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with the worst of summer through the southeast and then the worst of winter in the north. So you get the worst of all worlds if you start late. So what I'm doing is starting in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, the halfway mark.
That's fair.
It's called a flip-flop through hike. So you start at the halfway point, go north,
And then go
through
all
the
way back
mild
down.
weather.
No?
You go north through the mild weather, summit at the top, take a bus, take a plane, hitchhike, whatever, back down to the halfway point, and then hike south.
I mean, in fairness,
So-
I've picked up guys off the AT who didn't want to take the shuttle.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They paid me $100 versus $300 for the shuttle to
Yeah.
drive them to Atlanta Airport. They're from Arizona. National Guard guys, super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to... Whoa. Sorry. Shout out to Sergeant Zapata. That's why I was struggling with it, because the Z.
But yeah, so it's called a flip-flop. So you start in the middle, go north, go back to the middle without hiking, and then go south from there. And that's what I'm planning on doing for the through hike. No, we can't. We're not talking about politics on this podcast.
PETA is not politics!
Yeah, fuck PETA. Steve Irwin is a god.
Yeah!
That's all we need to say.
Fucking bastards! Jesus!
Oh, and then they shot, fired shots at Elon Musk too.
Look, we're in the South. We have a conservative listening base. Whatever. fuck PETA.
Fuck PETA. Yeah, I agree.
You're gonna desecrate the fucking dead man who was on Discovery Channel when I was a kid, sitting in my living room, learning about how fucking alligators and crocodiles work? Fuck you.
And Snaky Boys, Danger Noodles.
And I'm drunk and angry.
Oh man, yeah. Steve Irwin is a saint among men. We don't deserve between Steve Irwin and Bob Ross. We don't deserve either of them.
Oh no.
Much like we don't deserve dogs.
Did you know that Bob Ross was in the military?
He was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's just wild.
That's why he kept drawing trees, because he was hearing Charlie in the trees.
We're gonna have a happy little accident here of my buddy dying in Vietnam.
This happy little accident of a napalm strike gone wrong. Oh fuck. We
That was
just
good
got
shit.
dark.
Not
Not too dark.
people have been dying in war since before zero. If you're along with the BCAD system.
Before zero. So before zero is also when cavemen knew what burnt toast smelled like. Full circle.
I think I got you.
You are fucking drunk.
That's what people want to listen to, I guess.
I guess.
No. I swear to God I can put a coherent statement together. But, fuck, I have a lot of homework.
Wait. God, you're such a pussy.
What, for doing homework?
Yeah.
You're on an internship.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
All I have to do is write 12 pages of essays every 100 hours.
Wow. Congrats for you, man. What the fuck? Oh, here's what we were going to talk about. Not to get
Fuck.
political, but
What?
we fucking about to... Oh.
Okay, are you okay?
No, we're about to get political. Here's the deal. Do you want to talk about PETA, or do you want to talk about Trump's attorney?
I don't know anything about Trump's attorney. I don't follow politics.
So, the, non-politicized basic update is that Trump's personal attorney, not his presidential attorney,
Mm-hmm.
basically he initially lied in front of Congress, right? And got convicted of lying.
Wait, what's this guy's name?
Michael Cohen.
Cohen. Yes,
Yeah,
I have
Cohen.
heard about this.
So he lied in front of Congress, got super found out for that, pleaded guilty, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes back and then talks to Congress again about Trump. But the fact that he was coming off, he was the first person who has
Yeah.
talked to Congress the most having lied in history. So that's the big political news. I don't want to dive too much into it because
So
That's
he,
not-
even after
He
pleading
lied to
guilty and being convicted,
from what I understand, yes, I might be informed.
pleading guilty to lying to Congress,
Everybody and their fucking mother knows he lied to Congress initially
he then goes back and tells them more stuff
about Trump.
and is believed, question mark?
That is the gray area.
Okay, so
Is
he's
to believe
but
him or
he's
not.
still allowed to talk.
Yeah, so he
That's
was the
weird.
first person to be allowed to come back to Congress and speak to them, having been
Is
like
it positive or negative about Trump?
definitely negative.
Okay, is Congress right or left?
It's not whether Congress is right or left. The debate right now is that. So Cohen was Trump's.
I'm just saying, if they're predominantly left, they'd be more inclined to let him come back and speak negatively,
Yeah, absolutely.
even if they know he might be lying.
there's an investigation, that's why this is happening.
Okay.
So the thing that Cohen is doing is widely debated because of the fact that whenever he was so Cohen was Trump's attorney before he gained office, right?
Right.
So the thing is Cohen didn't land a slot in the White House staff. So what the liberals are saying, or not liberals, but what the left side of things is saying.
Democrats.
Well, yeah. We're in a democratic republic, so I mix things back the word Democrat, but anyway.
And then Republicans.
Yes.
Yes.
But what the Democrats are saying is that Cohen is finally bursting like the top cap of Trump's malinfluences. Does that make malacts? Like what he's done wrong. He's finally bursting the lid on everything Trump has done wrong, right?
Okay.
Which will save Cohen from going to full prosecution for the things that he's done. Which everybody knew.
The original lying to Congress thing.
A line to Congress, paying Stormy Daniels, and
Oh, that porn star shit.
yeah, everything's getting back involved. But the left is saying that, you know, this is blowing the roof off of everything. The right is saying that Cohen wanted a spot in the White House more than anything in the world. He
Okay.
wanted to be chief of staff, right?
Okay.
And they're saying that he's lying to get back at Trump because Trump fired him accordingly and didn't give him the job in the White House. Which are
So
both
it's all just a clusterfuck, pretty much.
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is kind of to do with politics in a way. Some of it is. But there's this documentary on Netflix. There's one for the 90s that I didn't really get into.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But
yeah.
it's called 2000s or the 2000s. And it's a documentary about all of the cultural influences in the for America in the between 2000 and 2010. So up and through Obama's inauguration in 2009 pretty much. And it has to do with technological advances, television programming, the like evolution of sitcoms and shit like that. The evolutions the evolutions of like rock music into indie rock and fucking it was like this hip hop pop thing, indie rock, all this shit.
Yeah, you talked about this when we were hiking up to Yona.
Yeah, and then the political evolution as well between like it really just kind of took the political races like the different the battle for the caucuses between like Obama and Hillary in that elections because I mean Obama's the one that won, so the thing between him and Hillary was like, look, honestly, it was really interesting to watch. I really enjoyed watching it.
Realistically speaking,
And I don't like politics, and I liked watching about this politics.
I'm not a huge political person. I quit all that because I have the difference that I can make, and I have my feelings about it. And
Yeah.
my feelings about things were way more than the difference that I could make about things. I would have much rather had Obama get elected than Hillary.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
of course. And Obama was a fantastic candidate. He's a great speaker. He's great at connecting with people. In a fucking million-person audience, he can connect with every single one of them.
All right, well, here
Like,
we get
that's
political.
that's just
but we're going to.
that you cannot deny the fact that Obama is fantastic at speaking
Oh,
and
no.
reaching people.
Obama is aside from, I would say before Jimmy Carter,
Yeah.
Barack Obama was the best orator
Oh, by far.
that the presidential candidacy ever had, regardless of political opinion. He could speak his way so well. And I think that after that, that's what kind of garners Trump was to be the bull in the china shop,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And
But
here's the other thing with Obama.
regardless of policy or opinion, Obama was the best speaker that we have had in years.
And let's be real, most people that vote aren't voting on policy.
No.
They're voting on personal opinion.
Absolutely.
So when you have Obama, this fresh, young, African-American question mark, I don't know. There was this whole thing like whether he's actually
he was
African
educated,
or not.
and for all communities speaking, he was the first black president.
Right.
So
Yeah,
he
so
fit everything on the bill.
he's young and he's black. And then you're coming from Bush, and then your Republican candidate is McCain, who is
Yeah.
Bush plus Vietnam.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people who didn't like Bush because of the way he. I don't really know why people wouldn't like Bush, but a lot of people didn't like Bush.
I grew up in the Bush era.
Yeah.
I legitimately did. Even maybe a little bit before you did, but
I mean, I remember Obama's inauguration, and
I remember
Like,
9/11.
that was 5th grade for me. It was Obama's inauguration. 9/11, I was 2 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I
Three,
remember when
3
that
years old. 3 years old.
old.
Maybe 4. I don't know.
Fuck, we got political. Whatever. But I don't think that Obama was a bad successor. I think that the pendulum swings, so to speak.
Yo, they literally said that shit in the documentary.
I mean, whatever, but it does. I don't think he did an absolutely terrible
You
job.
just blew my mind using that same analogy.
He did look. He did what he thought was right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm more of a conservative than anything. Not to state my political opinion on this podcast, but I'm more of a conservative. I'd say I'm more of a moderate.
Yeah.
I want what's best for most people within bounds, but I don't hold it against his presidency for the things that he tried to do.
Right.
For the most part, I think that he was doing what
He had the
thought,
best intentions.
Yes,
That's what. Yeah, he had the best.
I'll agree with
intentions.
that. And I think
Might not have panned out how he wanted.
on a whole different spectrum, Donald Trump has the best intentions, even if they're very, very poorly executed. No, I mean, I'm not going to defend him way up at the top. Like, there have been mistakes made, but he's doing what he feels like is right, and that's what we put in
He's
that
also making
spectrum.
really bold moves because he's not a politician. So
Absolutely.
he doesn't have. It's not like when he gets done with this, he still has to be elected into a political office.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he gets done with this, and it's like, yeah, I just big dicked everyone.
Yeah. No, he is big dick everyone, and that's something that I think that we needed, even if you don't agree with his policies. We need someone to change the game,
Yeah.
turn tables, and whatever. Oh, Barack Obama did his job in being that person that set lines and let them go and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the things that he did, but I dislike a lot of the things that he did. And I like a lot of the things that Trump has done, and I dislike a lot of the things that Trump has done.
That's the thing. I don't.
We
think
got really political,
I
even though we said we
just
wouldn't.
don't think I'll ever like a president because they're going to do things I love and things that I hate. And so if you put those on a pro-con sheet next to each other, you're coming out like two or three margin right there.
I want one president. Okay, who comes out of the gate and he says, I don't give a fuck about parties. I don't care about right or left. I don't care about the medial. I don't care about any of that. I want to do what is in the best interest of the American people. That is my wish.
That'll never happen.
That's
Everybody's
what you
too
fucking think. I'm running for president, bitch.
everybody's too party driven. You know it.
Yeah,
Which
they
is a
are.
problem.
No, I agree.
That's why the
I
top
agree.
two contenders, yeah, it's a bipartisan system, Democrat and Republican, but then there's also Libertarian, Independent,
The
Tea
wor-
Party, I think, is in
Yeah.
there now still. I
The
don't know.
world is a changing place,
Oh, yeah.
and you have to adapt.
Hopefully it happens.
As anything with the military or anything like that, you have to adapt. Which, granted, when Trump lost Mattis, I think that's when I lost faith. But
that was a bad move, pulling out of Syria, because the same thing that happened. So, for
I
those
mean,
of
I
you,
agree.
No, for those of you who don't know, which actually is a lot of people, we trained the Taliban.
We're never going to get political on this podcast, but we have delved into this episode.
Yeah, so we trained the Taliban to control the nation or the country after we left, but instead as the governing force, as a positive governing force. But instead, what happened when we left? There's this power vacuum. Keyword: power vacuum, and the Taliban saw that and we're like, "Fuck it, we're taking over."
I mean, I agree. We
And
did
not in
all
a good
that,
way.
but you have to consider the intent that we were trying to make versus the intent that we did make.
So the intent that Trump's trying to make with Syria
Yeah.
is, we don't have a dog in the fight anymore. Why are we still there? And the thing is, now that we've left, it's going to go back worse than where it started. It's going to get so much worse from what it started now that we're out of there. Because it's, again, that power vacuum. I don't know what you're doing, but stop. It's that power vacuum that's just going to lead to bad things.
Telling you we're at an hour and a half, bitch.
Hour and 35.
Yeah, whatever. And I mean, look, I've been on both sides of the aisle. I agree with certain things.
And, that's what I was saying. That's why Mattis left, because Mattis was
Yeah.
in Fallujah In high
Yeah.
school, my
Yeah.
lieutenant colonel in JROTC was under Mattis. He was his secondary in the invasion, first invasion of Fallujah.
Look-
and so Mattis knows what happens when you leave a power vacuum somewhere. You have to go back in there
I
later.
mean, look, we're on the same page.
You have to go back in there later and lose a lot of guys
Yeah.
to get it back and get everything back stable.
We're
So
on the
that's-
same page.
That's why Mattis left.
I met 3 guys from Benghazi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we met Tonto that one time.
Yeah, I met him. I've
Chris
met
Peranto.
I've met 2 other dudes from Benghazi, and look, the status of an American soldier is that you're gonna do what your country needs, but you don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from them was that
You
you're-
follow orders, you don't question them.
Exactly. And that's been like questioned in various psychological experiments and whatever. But you're going to do what your government needs. You're going to do what's best for you. And you're not like you can't question it. You do, but you can't. That's what I gathered. Well, fuck. That's what I gathered from those people was I've met so many high-ranking people now, and it's not that they're doing what is necessarily, in their opinion, right, but they're doing what needs to be done. And that is the difference between people who have gone a military aspect versus people who have gone a civilian aspect, is that what is right and what needs to be done are entirely different things.
So, with that psyche in mind, do you think that the healer, like, wanted to do it or needed to try to heal your thing?
Absolutely both. Absolutely both. Look,
Oh.
I mean, we got down to the bottom of the mountain. She was living out of her car.
Oh, yeah. So, I totally was like, okay, I'm snooping in this car because it was the only other
We
car in
both
the
did.
parking lot. And she had some pillows in the back seat, some blankets.
I need to piss off my roof.
some like boxes of cereal. Come back, bitch.
Man,
And some other shit. I'm like, okay, she lives out of her car. She's like some serious type hippie deal going on. I didn't look at her license plate. I should have seen where she was from, but it's probably not a county anywhere near us.
this
Big facts, yeah.
no, I had a stroke. Hold on. All right. This may or may not be the most political we've ever gotten on this. You alright with that?
I was bringing it back full circle.
I know, but I have to stop it in the interest of posting all of this.
I was bringing it back full circle to the healer so that we could stop it.
I'm bringing back full circle that in a year and a half, I'm going to have a federal investigator asking me about the podcast that I made.
No, you're not.
That's where you're fucking wrong.
So
This has been a really chill one, though.
it has no. My dad even said, he's like, yo, so like your brother told me about this like podcast you started. I was like, yeah, no, me and
Out there! Ow, my fucking thumb! Fuck! Alright.
I was like, yeah, me and Little Will started a podcast, and he was like, how is that gonna, like, are you not worried about them? Like, why would I be worried? He's like, because a future employer can just look that up. I'm like, okay, there's like, they don't know that it's me.
Look, if they want to look it up, then whatever. Like,
Yeah, fuck.
this is
I
the
had a
first
good
time
time.
we've gotten overtly political about anything. Like, okay, so you know more about me as an interviewer. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so on the episode of Acid and Absinthe, you said this and this. How does that really play into your psyche here? Like, fuck, dude, I don't care. Yeah. If I regretted it, I wouldn't say it.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at
exactly.
that.
Absolutely.
If it was gonna end badly for me, I probably wouldn't say it. I have my best interest.
I mean,
in
I'd
mind.
say it anyway because I hate myself, but.
I have my best interest in mind. So, now that we got existential with it, we're gonna wrap up this episode.
I think so. Yeah, we're actually at 129, so we're about an hour and a half. We are gonna wrap this up.
Our longer episode in the past little bit, huh?
Yeah, for
Past 2 episodes, this is the longest one, I think.
absolutely. If you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SidebarPod, Instagram I think is the most predominant thing that we use.
I don't even have a login to the Twitter, so
If you want to see a photo of my butt cheek, Instagram.
If you want
at
to see
Sidebar Pod.
every other post that's me, because I'm the pretty face of this podcast, follow our Instagram.
Mine are funnier. Anyway.
Also, big shout out to our sponsors, Bourbon Whiskey, Shitty Beer,
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
What else do we got?
We don't have sponsors yet. We're working on it,
Okay,
which is
well-
why our fans need to engage. All right?
Go
Leave
listen
us a like. Shut the fuck up.
Go listen to Mountjoy, fantastic
I swear
band.
to God. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment. Shout us on a... Sorry.
Shout us out to your friends and family.
I was going to
Maybe-
say shout us out to Instagram and Twitter.
Maybe not family, never mind.
But hey, here's the deal. If you're a follower of this podcast and you want it to work, we're making everything happen from here. We're going to keep doing this shit. We have t-shirts now. We're getting everything
They're
together.
pretty sick. They've got my face on it because I'm the pretty face of this podcast.
Absolutely. No, you are. You are. That's my dynamic. but
I'm photogenic as fuck.
please give us a subscribe. God damn it.
Okay, let me do it. So please,
Yeah, I'm drunk.
subscribe.
You fucking do it. I'm
yo,
drunk.
like subscribe to all of our social media outlets. Like our posts, comment on them of what you want us to talk about,
At Sidebar Pod
At
on
Sidebar
Instagram
Pod.
and Twitter.
and all of our podcasts are on iTunes now as well as SoundCloud. But yeah, seriously, leave us a comment about what you want us to talk about because we'd love to talk about things that you want to hear about.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually waiting on one person to leave us a fucking comment about what they want us to talk about. Carson did about my cellmate. We'll get there eventually, but one more person to leave us a comment about just questions or something that they want us to talk about.
You can ask me any personal question ever. I'll answer it. Deal right here.
You know
heard
what?
it here
Deal
first.
for me too. Let's fucking go.
You heard it here first.
Let's
All
fucking
right,
go.
So that's gonna be it for us today.
And we will see you guys next week. Boo!